And we are live. Hey, family, what's happening? What's happening? No, your notifications are not going berserk. It's not Tuesday night or Thursday night, and we didn't click the wrong button, right? It's Saturday, 12:30 p.m. in Kingston, Jamaica, which is where I am. And we are very excited. Team JMMB is very excited to be here this Saturday afternoon, and we'll tell you why we're doing this on a Saturday afternoon, but don't worry about it. Goal Getter Live. Welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. We are here to bring to you another great episode of JMMB Goal Getter Live. As you know, we've been doing this now for several weeks. And the purpose of these awesome webinars is to help you to navigate all of the different areas and aspects of your lives that have been impacted by COVID-19. And again, we continue to push through. In Jamaica right now, we're going through extended periods of curfewing and quarantining and working from home and homeschooling and all these crazy things. And it's been quite a journey for a lot of us. And again, we're very happy to be coming to you each and every week with some awesome information and content to help you to navigate this crisis. So why are we here? So, of course, with all the topics that we've discovered and we've tried to cover and bring you some awesome guests every week, this one is just as special. And I think most of us would have seen a lot of headlines coming perhaps out of China and maybe one or two out of New York talking about the impact that these extended periods of lockdown and curfew and quarantining and they have been having on relationships generally. And we're not just talking about marriage relationships, which we'll get there as well, but the impact that it's having on singles and families. And it's really been a very, very difficult time, we understand, for a lot of people. And it can bring out the best in a relationship and it can bring out the worst in it, perhaps. But we're here to break it all down and share with you some tips, advice, information, and some nuggets as usual about how to build your relationships during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we have some awesome guests here with us. If you're a member of the JMMB family or you follow JMMB, you know that they are an extended part of the JMMB family as well. We first got introduced to the husband part of the husband and wife duo last year, January, where he so kindly consented to come to Jamaica all the way from London, England, to come and be a part of JMMB Elevate to kick off 2019 last year. And we're very happy to have him and his wife. Now, they're going to tell you how unprecedented this is. His wife is going to be a part of this discussion to his lovely wife, Jill. You know, behind every great man, there is an even greater woman. And believe me, guys, we did not pay any bribes or anything. So they are here totally legit. And Jill is happy to be a part of this conversation. And I'm going to introduce them right now. Please join me in welcoming Paul and Jill Brunson. Hey, guys.
Hello, how are you today?
Fine, thank you, Jill. Paul, I love how you let Jill have the first word, right?
I'm gonna tell you what, I am just the assistant today. I'm here to assist. That's it.
Yeah, and can I say that the video of Paul that you all created from his presentation, that's one of our favorite videos in the household. Paul is probably sick of it now, but me and the boys, we love to play it because we're like, okay, you're a rock star because you don't do that at home.
Yeah,
so we love that.
I guess you can't come to Jamaica and not dance, hear some good music and dance and have a great time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're looking forward to getting there as soon as all of this is over. We can't wait.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you guys back.
And also, I have to say this because we were talking about the unprecedented nature of this. I just want everyone to know, Jill and we have never, ever in the history of our marriage, our relationship of knowing each other, we have never been interviewed together. Ever. To the point where, honestly, a lot of people don't even believe Jill exists. They're like, oh, no, I don't think Paul's married. I don't think he's married. He doesn't have a wife. I don't think he's married. Let me see her.
I can believe that. I mean, I see a couple of hands sometimes cooking in the kitchen, and I figured, that's probably Jill's hands, but who knows, right?
Who knows? Who knows?
But guys, it's so awesome. I see people coming up in the comments already. Hey guys, please drop us a comment. Tell us where you're watching us from. I'm sure we have an international contingent. So Paul and Jill, they're joining us from London, England, which is where they have been living for a little while now. And of course, we normally have our live sessions on a Tuesday and or Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Jamaica time, which is some obscene, ungodly hour in London. So not only could that not work, but we also figured, a Saturday's probably not a bad time either because there's no school. So you don't have to be, with the kids and the homeschooling during the typical work day. So here we are on a Saturday. And of course, guys, please call, text, WhatsApp, DM, tag, whoever needs to be a part of this conversation. Tell them to come over here right now. We're going to have some awesome conversation and exchange and discussion with Paul and Jill. So guys, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, most people know you, but some people don't. So just tell us a little bit about yourselves, please.
Okay, well, I guess people don't know a lot about me because I don't do this often, but my background is in human resources. I got a master's in human resources management back back in 2009, and I came on board to start this matchmaking agency with Paul, and then I became full-time. And ever since, we've been working together. And as you can see, for better or for worse, we work together every day, day in, day out.
For better or for worse.
Yes,
We work
yes.
together. Look at the shade already. For better or for worse.
Well, who else will put ears behind my head when I'm giving an answer?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. So my name is Paul Brunson. I'm Jill Brunson's husband.
Woohoo!
She is my boss. I tell everybody she's my boss, and no one thinks so because you're going to see Jill. Don't be fooled by the smile, and she's going to be very cordial, very nice. She is a stone cold hustler. She's a hustler, and we always, when I say we, especially when we were running our matchmaking agency, everyone referred to Jill as the secret ninja. She's a secret ninja. She will, you'll invite her over, you'll think that all is good, and you'll actually, all right. My name is Paul Brunson. I have co-founded the last billion companies that we've co-founded together. And we always co-found companies together. So we had a matchmaking company that we sold in 2016. We have an event company. Jill's looking at me like, you better get it right. We do public speaking, right? We have we're doing 2 TV shows out here. And all of it is managed through our holding company. And Jill is the co-founder of the holding company. She's the boss.
Awesome. Paul is a very smart man because Paul knows that he has to go to bed tonight and sleep somewhere. So he's saying all the right words. Jill is the boss. She's in charge. It's so great. And Paul, the best part about you is that you're Jamaican with like 13 jobs or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I don't like to say how many jobs. Because if you start saying over like 12, 13 jobs, people are like, no, you crazy. But I think we have like 20.
Right.
Yeah.
And you come up with additional ones every day, like today even.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you guys. Again, it's awesome. You got your fan club in the live comments here, right? And we have people from all over the world. We got South Africa in the house. We got quite a bit of folks in the United States. I see Virginia. I see folks from Canada. Shauna K is like, OMG, I can't believe it's here.
Yeah. Can you believe it? It's crazy. I don't know what you did to get Jill to do this.
I came out of my COVID hairdo to do this show, okay?
You're looking beautiful. You're looking beautiful. And again, JMMB, we're just so very humbled and grateful that you guys are joining us, and especially to Jill, who so kindly consented. And you're typing one of those invitation emails, and you're like, "Oh my God, will she go for this?" And you did, and we're so very happy about that. So yes, guys, we love the engagement. We love the comments, and it's awesome. We see, hey, Vivine from Ocho Rios, love it. So we got a real Jamaican and international audience. So let's get right into it. Building your relationships during COVID-19. So guys, I know you have, especially, through Paul's presence online, you have a massive community. What are you picking up on the ground? Let's just level set and kick this off. What are you picking up on the ground with respect to how this pandemic and its impact, how has it been hitting relationships from where you sit?
Yeah, it's been tough because, we know people who have lost jobs and they have to maintain households. We know some people who it's, working out fine, they can work from home. But then we have the older population who might be retired and they're used to getting out daily, and we're trying to urge them stay at home because it's really dangerous. So we've seen all aspects of it. We even have a cousin right now who is battling COVID in the hospital, and prayers going up, and we are so thankful that she is defeating the disease, and she hopefully will be at home on Friday.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's been in for almost 4 weeks now.
Wow.
But yeah, this is I think this is a moment of truth for all of us, right? Mm-hmm. This literally is a moment of truth, and I think that where we all can connect is that we all now truly appreciate every breath, every minute, every moment. And it's very important as we now look forward to think about how you can create more moments. I think that's really what it's about, whether that's you independent, whether that's you in a relationship. You want to figure out how you can use this time of reflection to create more moments. And that's really what it's about. And then one other quick note on relationships, you talking about that. We were talking about this right before, is that, right now, this is a moment of real truth for relationships. And I think the beauty is that you will see a lot of people who break up as a result of this, not just romantic, but you're going to see a lot of people who break out of their business partnerships as a result. You're going to see a lot of people who were actually employed, still employed, and they decide, you know what, I'm going to now do something else with my life. This is just a moment of reckoning. And I think we just have to see it as that and figure out how we can go forward stronger, better, etc.
That's a really great perspective that you brought to the table, because it's impacting so many different kinds of relationships, as you said, and what it's going to do to the relationship dynamic. It could be positive, it could be negative, but it's going to be really something to see what's going to happen on the other side. And we really appreciate your sharing what you've been seeing. And just to share again, guys, we find this to be a conversation. So feel free to share what's your experience, any nuggets you want to share about how you've been building your relationships. I just want to say that. But in the conversation, we're going to divide it up, guys, into 3 different sections. We're going to start off talking about couples, right? Then we're going to move to singles, and then we're going to talk about families, right? Both immediate and extended. And so let's start off with the couples conversation. So I would have said at the top of the live that there were a lot of concerns, especially seeing what's happening coming out of Asia, which would have seen the early aspects of the pandemic. There were a lot of news articles and headlines coming out of Asia talking about divorce rates spiking. And I think there was even a recent article even coming out of New York where divorce lawyers were anticipating that a similar thing would have happened. And of course, the number one reason being put forward for that is you're kind of locked up with your spouse 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And sometimes it's nice to take a little break. And maybe that's perhaps the underpinning reason. But there could be many reasons for why marriages are struggling at this time. But just speaking generally, because we're coming from a positive perspective, which is why we chose the topic the way we did, building your relationships. For married couples, Paul and Jill, what strategies do you suggest married couples employ right now to build their relationships in the midst of this crisis?
Well, I think that it's probably pretty cliche, but you have to communicate, because right now it's so important for you to let your partner know what you're going through, to ask your partner, can I have support in this area, because this is where I'm feeling weak right now. And so I think it's so important to communicate. And then when you disagree, I think you need to compromise, because so many times you want to just stick to your position. But it's important to find a middle ground and say, okay, I'm willing to give because I see that my partner has certain needs, and I'm willing to give so that they can be more comfortable, so that we can make it through this hardship.
Yeah. I agree. What's funny? What if I was like, no, I completely disagree. Everything she said, I don't know who she is. I completely disagree. No. Okay. All right. Seriously, though, I do agree, because I do want to sleep in my bed tonight. So everything. No, I'm joking. But I do agree, though. I do agree. But I will say this, and I don't want to sound. I don't want to make. I don't want to take something bad and turn it good. But I think I'm going to try. Right. This time right now, there will be a lot of people who break up. Right. There will be a lot of families that are separated, right? A lot of husbands and wives that go apart, people who are dating who go apart. But I think what we have to ask ourselves is that really a bad thing? There are so many people who shouldn't be in a relationship anyway. And most of you who are in a relationship with someone who you shouldn't be, it deep down. But you think, oh, you know what? I think I could try to help him. I could try to fix him, or I could fix her. I can do that, right? But it deep down. So the fact that this time together separates you, is that really a bad thing? No, right? That's an opportunity for you now to go live life fully. So I think that's just looking at this as, I think when we see divorce numbers, we think, oh, that's terrible. But is it terrible, right? Because most people who divorce are technically people who are in the wrong relationship. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just in the wrong relationship. So that's one thing. And then everything else that Jill said is gospel.
You said it's gospel too.
Oh, thank you.
I tell you, Paul is working not to get the boot tonight. I'm telling you. But no, I mean, those are some awesome. I love that perspective, though. So we started off about communication and compromising, because really that's the foundation of, I think, any successful marriage, particularly one where you're forced to be occupying the same space for a protracted period of time. Okay, but I love the counter perspective in this. Well, not so much counter, but the other perspective of saying, hey, maybe it's actually a good time to reassess also, because maybe it's not a bad thing. And sometimes, again, in crises, sometimes there are opportunities, and there's an opportunity to perhaps reassess and rethink, is this really something, is this a relationship or a marriage that I really need to be in? And who knows, it's probably not a bad thing. I really find that to be an interesting perspective, Paul. And I'm seeing some great comments here. I'm looking. There's one that I saw. Charmaine. Hi, Charmaine from Facebook. Communication is key. You can't afford to shut down. Unfortunately, a lot of men don't like being vulnerable. We're mashing some corns, but there are some women too. But it's great to hear these other perspectives. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's true. Some men do not like being vulnerable. Paul is not one of those. So we don't necessarily have that issue, but that's tough because, you are, as you said before, in these close quarters and you are going through all of these emotions that I think that none of us ever thought we would see a time when we had to shelter in place the entire world, for this extended period. So it is, it's really tough.
Yeah. You know what? I saw an interesting stat a couple of weeks ago that showed that the average married couple prior to the COVID lockdown saw each other on average 3 waking hours a day, right? So, you think about an hour in the morning, hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the evening on average, right? Yeah. Now you see your spouse every moment, every waking moment. And I think what's happened is a lot of people now are realizing, oh my God, you're not the person who I thought you were. Like, oh my, like, who is this? A lot of people are realizing that. And I think that, the fact that you just admit to that is good. And then it goes back to Jill's point of, okay, so now this is a moment of true communication and true listening. I think, or actually, should I say, actual listening? Because a lot of people, we just hear Jill says something, but to listen is to let it come in, think on it, and then respond to it, right? Yeah. And so I think true communication is truly key.
Absolutely. And, as we talk about communication, obviously, one of the things that we have to be mindful of in communicating is certainly trying to be clear about what our respective expectations are, right? My spouse needs to be clear what my expectations are, vice versa, and making sure that doesn't get lost. And one of the things that we've discovered is couples are sometimes not on the same page with respect to how much space they actually need. So as Jill said, we're all being forced to shelter in place. Depending on the country that you're viewing from, there are different levels of restrictions. Yeah. But I know for me and my husband, they're like right now I'm at home, right? And he's gone on a road trip just to drive out, take a country ride with his best friend from high school, his best man, right? And to me, that's okay. Go, because it helps him and it helps me. Because we believe that kind of time apart is good. What's your recommendation in the midst of, being again forced to shelter in place? Do you think that trying to still find that time apart is still healthy in maintaining a strong marriage throughout all this?
Yeah, absolutely. We are taking this lockdown so seriously that we have stayed in place since probably
5 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks.
For a really long time. And so you can imagine we are trying to do everything that we can to make sure that we all get what we need. We all take our separate time. We have time together. And I think it's working out really well because we all respect each other and the time that we all need. So, we encourage the boys to take time, just take a break from your schoolwork, take a break from us, just go out and have your quiet time. And then we each do the same thing. I know that I get my quiet time in the morning before everybody wakes up and starts asking for things. So I get up super early, which is why I go to bed super early. And that's my time. I exercise so that I can get my endorphins, releasing, so that I can boost my mood, so that I can deal with anything that's thrown at me during the day.
Shade.
No shade. Just, this is the truth zone.
Can I say this? This shows you maybe how much stress me and our 2 boys put on Jill, because do you know that what Jill does in the morning, this is every morning. And this is to your point of, you have to know what you need to keep moving every day. Mm-hmm. And you have to feed yourself that first. Because if you're not good to yourself, you won't be any good to anybody, right? Jill realizes this. So Jill spends 5 hours.
He exaggerates.
I'm telling you, Jill spends. I'm not lying. I'll call the boys in here right now. Jill wakes up. At first, I don't know what she's doing, right? But she wakes up, she gets some tea. She's got to be one with the earth. She exercises.
Yes.
Then after she exercises for like 2 hours, then she'll do yoga. Then she'll do meditation. And I'm thinking, are we that bad that you need to go through this much? Then after she spent 3 hours doing that, she'll go into the bathroom and she'll take like a 1 hour hot shower.
Self-care.
She'll rub herself down with all kinds of, Ghanaian oils and Nigerian oils. And,
self-care, people.
And 5 hours later, she's ready to deal with us.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Jill, I'm sympathizing with you, girl. You have three men to take care of every day. That's no small task. I'm
outnumbered.
You're gonna need exercise, yoga, and as the saying goes, you can't pour
prayer.
You can't pour from an empty cup. So I'm with you on that. Yes. So okay. So I guess we're on the same page that taking that time is important. And again, bearing in mind that, again, we're all sheltering in place. As we wrap this segment for the couples, what are your recommendations, maybe from your own personal experience or again, anything from your community? What's your personal recommendations about things that couples can do to kind of keep sane, yes, but also keep it together and keep it spicy, What are your thoughts? What are your recommendations?
One thing that my sole duty here, one of my sole duties is cooking for everybody. I have to cook for the troops. And I do love it. I love to cook. It's almost therapeutic. And so I do. We have been stuck here having my cooking for the entire lockdown. Fortunately, it's gotten better from where it was, when we first met.
Oh, great stuff, Paul.
Yeah. So it's gotten better over the years. He likes to think that he taught me to cook because he has been a critique of my cooking all these years. But anyhow, it's great to have a night where, as a couple, you come together, you're listening to music and you are cooking together, sharing that responsibility and just having fun. So I think that that's a great way to spend time. We always make time for a date night where we're doing something, whether it's something that Paul has chosen or whether it's something that I have chosen. We watch a movie or a series together and then we complete it. And it's a great experience because that's something that we don't normally get a lot of time to do.
Yeah.
So we've been enjoying that.
Yeah. And the days could be minor. Like we sometimes just sit outside and
on the deck,
on the deck. And I say, Jill, where do you want to be in 5 years? and Jill will look at me after we've had a couple of glasses of wine. Jill will look at me like, why do you want to talk about this? Let's talk about nothing. Why do you want to talk about something so heavy?
Vacation. Where do you want to be on vacation in 5 years?
Sure. What are you most passionate about in life right now? But
all the intellectual.
Always.
but to Jill's point, once again, because she has these fabulous points.
Of course.
Is that it really is about just doing stuff together. Right? That's what gives you the moments. And what you'll find is that the stronger couples do more stuff together. The weaker couples do less stuff together, bottom line. And so the key is that you want to monitor how much stuff you do together. And it's the same thing with the family. A family that does a lot of stuff together is a family that grows strong. A family that does not a lot of stuff together is a family that gets weak. So it's important to do a lot of stuff together. One of the blessings but in our relationship is that we work on our business together. So we are building, and we've been doing this for a decade plus. Right. So we are building something together. So that is like an art form for us too. One thing that was really cool that we did not too long ago is we wrote a scripted podcast.
We did, yes.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was really cool. So, we were talking about, we wanted to create art together. So we wrote a scripted podcast, real salacious, real sexy, real just spicy, real just dirty. No, actually, I was shocked. Jill was, I mean, I didn't realize.
Wow. You chose well, Paul. You chose well. Well, that's awesome. I mean, doing stuff together and making those moments and making those memories. And if I could just add, certainly one of the things that I found has worked for me is practicing gratitude. Yeah. So again, as a couple, you're sheltering in your place, you're locked down, you're under curfew, and you tend to always want to try and think about what we've lost, what we don't have. So we can't move around as much as we would like. I really can't stay locked in here with my spouse or with my family for a longer period of time. Get me out of here, as opposed to looking at it and just being grateful for whatever it is you can find to be grateful. My loved ones are alive. My spouse is here. They're healthy, if that's your case. If I have kids, they're healthy and they're here. We have this time together. Sometimes as parents, we wonder, as a couple, we always want to spend more time together. And sometimes time is elusive. And now here it is. We have all this extra time, but yet we want to break out. Right. So it's really an opportunity to also practice gratitude in the small moments as you're creating those memories, I'd like to say. All right, great. So you're loving the engagement and the comments, guys. Linda is saying Paul and Jill are an inspiration. Wonderful. We agree with you, Linda. Lovely, lovely. And, I'm sorry, I'm not picking up some of these names. Or Bradlicia, he's still getting to know her. I love it. And Susan is saying she loves this. Marsha says, Jill, you crack me up. You can sense the strength that's in your soul. We agree with you, Marsha. Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. So let's move into our next segment. We called it Surviving as a Solo in the Pandemic, so we're just going to be talking to the singles. And let's just be clear, guys, not because you're single doesn't mean necessarily we're going to hit straight to dating. And I know Paul is here, and I know that's probably okay. I'm here in my notebook. How is Paul going to help me find a relationship in this pandemic? I'm kidding. But we're actually just going to start out, before we even get there, we just want to start out just looking at people who are single and certainly living alone, because that's really the first thing. And I think for those of us who have family members and partners that we've had the opportunity to take shelter with, there are some people who are definitely just alone, and their families and friends would be in other locations. They wouldn't have had the opportunity to see them as much or to spend time with them in person as much. And for a lot of people, that's difficult, So just again, from your perspective, and again, I know your community is huge, and you've been sharing and exchanging and getting lots of feedback from them. What would you say, guys? What are some of the things that singles can do to battle loneliness and stay connected with people right now? So it's not about relationships and finding a relationship. It's just as a single person with different types of relationships. How can I battle loneliness or being alone while still staying connected?
Well, of course, there's no relationship that's more important than the relationship you have with yourself. So this is the time to nurture yourself, nurture all those dreams and passions that you have that you just never, ever tapped into. So this is the time to do that. You wanted extra time, and this isn't the optimal way to get it, but you have it. So use this time to go out and learn something new. Take on a passion that you've had, but just haven't had time to explore it. Right now, I'm trying to delve more into photography, to my yoga practice. I have a single friend who said that, she was feeling a bit lonely and she's kind of trapped inside all the time. So she wanted to do something that was very impactful. She is an animal lover. So she reached out to her local animal shelter and volunteered just to start walking dogs. And that was something that was very special because, so many of the nonprofit organizations are really tapped for resources right now. So it was a win-win situation, for her and also for the organization, for the animals. It was just a positive experience. And also, along the lines of volunteering, you should definitely volunteer your time right now. Paul and I just started a company, Knowledge Share. Shameless plug.
Plug.
Awesome.
I made him proud today.
You make him proud every day, Jill.
Yes. So we started Knowledge Share, and it is a platform for you to share the skills that you have. And someone out there needs those skills that you have. And maybe you're willing to donate 1 hour, 5 hours, more hours, but you can be a blessing to someone else, for that specified amount of time. And it has been working out so wonderfully. We've had people on both ends, the receiving end and the giving end, and it is just beautiful. And then for us to see how impactful that is and how much people are getting out of this, that's the reward for us.
Yeah, it's really good. I saw someone mention that self-quarantine is optimal time for self-discovery.
Yes.
Right. So this is a great time for self-discovery. So everything that Jill said with regard to being able to identify what you value in life and then feeding that, right, is important. But I'll hit you with two things that are maybe a bit obscure, but I think it's very important for if you're single or not to do. One is, and this is going to maybe sound crazy, maybe not, but I think that we all have seen the increase in social media, in our social interaction. I mean, the fact that we're doing this, right? We may not have been doing this unless it was for COVID, right? The amount of people now online is now at an all-time high, and that's not expected to change. It's expected to go up. And what that really means for all of us individually is that our social currency is now even more important. It's even more important for us to build our digital brands. And I hate to say that, but it is. It's very important, right? It's never been more important than ever, than in the history of the world. So that's just one thing to know, that while you're working on that self-discovery, you want to identify, all the things that you're passionate about, but you want to make sure that you're also connecting with people digitally, that you are conveying it digitally, right? That's very important. The second thing is this is the time to take bold risks. Jim Collins, when he wrote the book Good to Great, he coined the phrase BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals. Yeah. But BHAGs are not just for businesses, they're for us. This is the moment for you to say, what is something that I'm scared to do but want to do? Who's someone who I'm scared to talk to but I want to talk to, right? And now is the time to just give it a try, right? If it's someone you've always wanted to connect with, professionally or romantically, drop them an inbox message. Everybody's on their phone right now. I mean, there's no better time. Is you're thinking about launching something, this is the time now to think about what is big and lofty in your life, and then to take a massive step towards it. This is the time. Because if you know what you could always say? You could always say, oh man, I'm sorry, my bad. I'm crazy. I have cabin fever. I've been in my apartment for 5 weeks. So I'm sorry. You could push it off on so many things right now. Now is the time to do something big. I was gonna say big and hairy, but that's a whole nother show. But
this is daytime live. It's a daytime live.
Yeah. That was the time to do something big. That's it. And that's it. I'm done. I'm leaving now. Goodbye.
Love that. Thank you, guys. I love Jill's point, because what I think it drives at the heart of is taking the focus off of yourself for a minute and focusing on someone or some animal or something else that actually could use your help as well. So an example about volunteering at an animal shelter, there are other people who are battling with loneliness as well. How can you connect? How can you reach out? I think it's really very cathartic sometimes to take your eyes off of your own situation and look and see how can you help somebody else. But as you said, it starts off with the relationship that you have with yourself first. I think that was an awesome place to start. And this is a great time as well to go for that big, hairy, audacious goal, right, Paul? It's no better time. There are so many opportunities coming up, especially in the digital space, that I know a lot of people have begun to capitalize on. And I'm like, hey, I'm agreeing with you. Now is your time.
Yep.
Absolutely. So love it, love it, love it. And we're loving the engagement. Hey Kim, how are you? When she said she was dying, I was cracking up. Yeah, I think Kim is really having a great time. Thank you guys. And then yeah, Kim is also is taking Paul's advice. Slide into the DMs, people. Slide into those. Yeah. And that's interesting because you now I think we could actually almost take license to be bold, right? Especially the fact that everybody's on their phone, everybody's online. There's really nothing stopping you from being bold, huh?
Yeah, this is it.
Great. Thank you, guys. So the next question, which I think deals with the other side of singleness, because we have, I would like to say, the world's foremost authority on dating, okay, on this live, Paul C. Brunson. And I know there's some inquiring minds among our viewers today, and certainly when we put up this recording. I know in Jamaica, online dating is not really that much of a thing as it is in the United States and maybe other developed countries, admittedly. But at the end of the day, there's still people all over the world looking for relationships, and Jamaica is no different. And we know we have an international audience. Hey, Sterling. Great to see you. Hey, Sterling from Providence, Rhode Island. Great to see you, Sterling. Hope you're keeping safe. Yeah. So the question is, Paul, what advice, tips, strategies do you have for single folk who are still interested in dating and looking for that long-term relationship?
All right. So I'm going to tell you something right now that I guarantee is going to change your dating life forever. Dramatic, right?
Dramatic.
All right. I'm going to say that again. You go dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
All right. I'm about to tell you something that's going to change your dating life forever.
We're listening. We're listening.
Look at that. Now, Instagram is the most effective dating platform on the planet. It's the most effective dating platform on the planet. Now, we make all of our decisions based off of photos. So the first thing that you have to do is just make sure that you have, you're looking as right could be on your Instagram, right? Your profile photo and your photos, right? You're looking as right can be. And also that your photos convey what you're passionate about. But most importantly, you want to look as right can be. All right. That's the most important, right? Then what you do is you go to your friends, people who are truly your friends. All right. You go to their Instagram posts, and you then look at the comments underneath their posts, and you look for profile photos that you think are attractive, right? Somebody who you'd like to get with, okay? And then you could click onto their profile real quick to see, what you think about them. And if you like the way they look, because let's face it, 97% of the decision is based on looks, right? Initially. Then what you do is you ask your friend to introduce you to that person. So you say, hey, I see that John posted on your thing. Do you know John? If so, why don't you introduce us through DM? Why is this so effective? I'm telling you right now, this is more effective than hiring a matchmaker. This is more effective than you going to a speed dating event. This is the most effective thing you could do. Why? Because when we get introduced to people, we enter their social circle at the same level as our introducer, right? So just think, like, let's say that I just met Jill, and Jill wants to introduce me to her friend, her good friend, and her good friend holds Jill with high regard. If Jill introduces me, I come in at Jill's level with high regard to that person. So my point is that the moment that you get an introduction by someone who's close to you, you at least are guaranteeing a response back. You're guaranteeing a phone call. You're guaranteeing perhaps the virtual date. And this has science behind it. I mean, Robert Cialdini wrote about this back in the day in his book, Influence. I mean, this right here, I'm telling you, will change your life. I've been recommending this for maybe the last 2 years. I've seen people use it over and over again. So this is what I say. Everyone, if you are single, please go out and do this and then message me back and tell me what the result is. I guarantee you, out of every 10 folks that message me back, 9 are going to say, oh, wow, I got a response back, or I got a date, or I got a call. That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Okay, so everybody's taking notes right now. And I think we lost Kim. She left the live. She said she's gone over to IG. But, wow, that's really interesting, though. That's really an interesting perspective. So it's not about .com. It's really about IG and using that. And it's kind of like networking, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it's the same concept. I mean, think about this. You could do the same thing, but just say, hey, I don't want the introduction for the date. I want the introduction before a partnership or whatever. It's the same thing. Introductions, that is the strongest way to enter someone's social circle or professional circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you said, it kind of breaks. It's kind of like almost like breaking the ice. I don't know if that's the correct nomenclature, but again, if you're being introduced by someone, there's that initial kind of trust barrier, or what's your intention? That's kind of broken because there's someone who has actually done the introduction for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Jill, if there's anything you want to add or refute, feel free to jump in.
I'll do that.
Yeah, ditto, right? Ditto. I love it. All right, great. Thank you so much, Paul. So guys, you heard it here first. So go over to IG, follow Paul's methodology, and he wants you to message him and tell him how it worked out. And hey, we got nowhere to go, so it doesn't hurt to give it a shot. I definitely encourage that. All right, great. All right, so we've done our couples and we've done our singles conversation, and now we're going to wrap up with families. And again, we know there are many different types of families. There's the traditional nuclear family, living together, parents or parent and child or children, and then there are extended families living and not living together. But again, because of the reality of restricted movement and sheltering in place and quarantining and lockdown and curfew, we've also seen an impact to family relationships and dynamics. I mean, what's your current situation like? How has the pandemic and this COVID-19 crisis impacted your own family dynamic, Paul and Jill?
Yeah, I'll say that we have been really fortunate because this year we made a decision back in the fall that we were going to live unconventionally. So we took the boys out of their school and we've been homeschooling them since the fall. We came over to London where Paul films the show because we all just wanted to be together, and experience something different, do something different, maybe travel a little bit more. And so this was kind of the lifestyle we were leading before. So we were doing the homeschooling. We were here. We're a Velcro family, and we spend a lot of time together anyway. So it wasn't really a big stretch for us when they said, okay, you've got to shelter in place. The only thing that really changed for us is that we don't get out as much. We don't do like the local field trips that we would do to museums and different places. We don't get to do that anymore. But we've replaced that with visiting places virtually.
Yeah.
We'll take a field trip to different museums. We'll visit different countries. I think one of our favorites was when we went and we visited all of the seven wonders of the world. That was definitely one of our favorites. You know, when will we ever really get to do that anyway?
Yeah, we did it right on Google Earth.
Yeah. So that was great. You know, we've been fortunate in that way. So we kind of went through our rough spot, you know, earlier in the process, like last fall. But then when it hit us, you know, like, you have to do this, we were okay. We're used to it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think what it suggests is that, you know, we're living in a new world. And what's you know, what's so fascinating about this is, about a year ago, people would literally say, like, how do you, Paul, what are you doing? Family member, like, what are you doing? Your kids are out of school. You guys are running around the world. Like, what? Like, you sometimes you guys go to sleep at 3 a.m. Sometimes you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And really what they were saying is that there's a norm, and you don't live normally. You don't live according to our standard, right? Now, it's like we're the geniuses because we were living outside of the norm, right? And so I think what it means at the end of the day is that we're living in an unconventional world. You set your own rules. You set your rules. You determine what you believe works best for you and your family. And you stick to that, because ultimately, I think what we see, and I don't want to get into this is not the politics of Jamaica, by the way. I'm going to talk about, you know, Agent Orange at the United States, is that we see that government is not in place to save us. It's not. Government is not here to save you. They're not. You must save you. We as a community, we must save we. And how do we do that? You set your own rules, your own terms, and you live by it. And fortunately, we started doing this a few years ago. And now we're at a point where, okay, we can thrive because we were living abnormally, you know, before.
Yeah. Wow. You know, I like that, because what it kind of sets the framework for is helping you to recognize that you are in control. You can make your own choices to help to determine what outcome it is you want to see, you know. And I think it's a good segue into the next question, because so you guys kind of got the head start already, right? Because you were there homeschooling, you were living the kind of an unconventional kind of lifestyle with the boys and each other and yourselves as a family unit. I guess it's safe to say, and you recognize this, that there are a lot of people that was not their dynamic before. So it's usually parents going out to work, seeing their children for maybe a few hours every day, kids spending most of their waking hours in a school environment. And now again, we're all together doing virtually everything together. What is your advice to families who are now making that transition from the typical popular, you know, kind of in and out, I'm not seeing you for most waking hours type of reality, to now where the dynamic has completely shifted? What are your tips and strategies of how they can manage that change in dynamic?
Yeah, I think it's really important to keep a schedule. And just like you were on a schedule before, keep a schedule now. Get up at the same time, get dressed, do your work at the same time.
Take showers.
Take showers.
Nobody wants a stinky butt. Okay. Take showers. This is very important. A lot of people, you know, you're not taking showers out there.
Are you confessing something?
Take showers. Take showers. Because we're having a hard time to get our boys to take showers.
You know, this is going to be a permanent footprint on the internet, and poor King and Liam are going to be like, I can't believe my mom and dad said that.
I didn't do it.
Oh, man. Oh, man. It's hard out here. It's like just once a week. Take a shower. Once a week. Can you brush your teeth, please?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry.
But
yeah, it's okay.
Schedule and just stick to it. You know, have a place where you can go and do your work. You know, take breaks. That is so important. Take breaks, because throughout the day, for you, for the kids, everybody needs a break, some quiet time. That is so important. And I would also say that it's very important, if you are homeschooling, please, 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 please make sure that you do it when you are fresh, when your mind is at its optimal state, because otherwise it's not good for anyone. And I speak from experience.
Wow.
We have hours here that I am working as a homeschool teacher. I know that after 5, no, we're not doing any work after 5, because I need to start cooking dinner. I have other things. My mind is in a different place, and I'm getting worn down because I woke up at 4/5 a.m. in the morning. So I'm wearing down and I'm not at my best. So I can't go over the fine details right now, but catch me early and we are golden. Okay. So that's really important. Make sure that you are assisting your kids when you are at your best.
Our boys know at 5:01, if you go ask mommy a question, you're gonna get it. They won't even do it. They won't even come close. They come find me at 5:01. They're like, we're not talking to her. We're not talking to her at 5:01.
But you establish it up front. You say, this is how I operate. And then you have to respect that.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. I mean, to Jill's point, Daniel Pink wrote a book called When. I thoroughly recommend it. It's a phenomenal book. And really what he's talking about in this book is that we all have our when. There's certain periods of the day when it's more optimal for us. But here's the challenge. The challenge is that, so Jill's optimal point of the day, where she's firing on all cylinders, she's most alert, she's most creative, it may be at a different time than me. It may be at a different time than our boys. So you have to figure out how you can kind of like regulate the schedule enough and give enough leeway so that there's some overlap, so that Jill's high time is overlapping with some of my time, overlapping with some of the boys' high time. But that book, When, by Daniel Pink, is brilliant. It's a brilliant read.
All right. So that's When by Daniel Pink. Awesome. So we love that. So take a bath.
Yes.
Scheduling. Or in Jamaica, we say scheduling. What scheduling, scheduling. I think the point is well taken, and knowing those boundaries, right, Jill?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Establish your boundaries.
Thank you. And, just to segue into what the next question would be, which is along similar lines. So you're in the same space, and of course, it's easy now for buttons to get pushed, What's your advice, in situations where, again, you're in a tight space? And this is not just for the adults, the kids too.
Yeah.
Pushing of buttons. How do you manage, how do you propose folks can manage these kinds of family tensions?
Well, we have that a lot, especially having the boys here, they're just 3 years apart. And I think that out of all of us, they are pushing each other's buttons all the time. And so we have to take breaks. And, as I said before, breaks are so important. If you are getting to the point where you are angry, you should remove yourself from the situation and just go take a time out until you're feeling better. And during that timeout, do whatever makes you happy. That's going to return you to a state of, okay, I'm okay. I can deal with people again. And that's what we encourage our boys to do. And it works really well. Just take a break, take a time out, refresh yourself, recharge, and then rejoin the group.
Yeah. And something that we started doing. So on the homeschool front, Jill is the homeschool head mistress. She runs everything. And she has employed me as the PE teacher and the history teacher. Yes. So that's what I do. I teach PE and I teach history. And those are the only two subjects she would allow me to teach. But that's why I teach.
He's passionate about those subjects, and he gets the boys motivated.
There we go. Delegation is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we started at PE, and I picked this up from a friend of mine. So a friend of mine is a top therapist here in London, And one thing that everyone's probably aware of, but just, the amount of domestic violence happening all around the world is spiking, right? It's very dangerous. And she works with domestic violence abusers. And one of the things that she found there was only one technique that she could use to calm down an abuser. And that was a simple breathing technique of breathing in, holding that count for, you take a deep breath in, you hold it for about 4 counts and then you let it go, right? You take another deep breath in, hold it for about 4 counts and let it go. Doing that 3 times. That single technique literally prevented people from being abusers stopping to do that. So this is a technique that I think is very effective. And we do it sometimes at the beginning of the exercises, and it literally just calms you down. And so I think for everyone watching, you get, it's easy to get, to get agitated, especially when we're all kind of locked in. Just do that simple breath in, hold 4 seconds, let it out, do that 3 times. You'll feel much better, much, much better.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't hear a lot of people mentioning that, because again, normally when you talk about reducing tensions, it's absolutely taking a break, taking that time out, but just, being present to your breath and how that helps to calm you down. That's really, really powerful. And I mean, I know, Paul, if I could just kind of divert a little bit. I know that on your platform, you've been passionately sharing about increases, unfortunately, in abuse cases in this time of lockdown. I mean, what has been your word of advice and care to people who happen to find themselves in those situations?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking this question. This has been perhaps the most traumatic thing that's happened to us, because we've received a lot of inbox messages from people who feel like they can't go to anyone else, and they come to us and they're being abused, or whether it be physical or whether it be verbal abuse, or their children are being abused. Jill had a friend who, or a friend of a friend who unfortunately was killed by her husband just within the last few weeks. So this is real. And so I've been doing a lot, as you mentioned, Carrie, and I've been doing a lot of forums with therapists. And here's what I'm hearing are kind of the top things and what I've been advising. The first is that, unfortunately, because of coronavirus spreads in police departments, et cetera, if you report someone who has not caused what's considered to be, and this is different in every country, but basically, if you've reported somebody who hasn't killed you, right? That's really what it boils down to, right? If someone gets reported who hasn't actually murdered someone, chances are they will be back in the home that night. They will be booked, but then brought back home because they're not admitting them into the prisons because of coronavirus.
Wow.
What does that mean? That means that they're coming back even more agitated, even more upset, and there's an even higher chance of more of a lethal, deadly, abuse. What can we do? The first thing is that if you suspect that abuse is happening in your among family or friends, you don't label it. You just let the person know, I am here if you ever want to talk. If you ever want to talk about anything, right, I'm here, right? Anytime you want to talk, I'm here, right? I'm here. That's the first part. Just letting them know that you're not judging. And if they ever want to divulge anything to you, you are here. My friend who's a therapist is telling me that it takes people typically 2 to 3 years. And the more educated we are, it takes longer to even be able to divulge to someone that you are being abused. So it takes time. The second thing is that when someone is willing to talk to you, make sure that there's not a text trail, and try your best to make sure that they're in a safe environment where they can talk. Try your best to set up a code. So you could say it's, I'm chilly, or, I'm thirsty, or whatever the code is. Therefore, the person who's being abused, if they are ever in a dire situation, they can text you, call you, etc., and leave that code. And that is your signaling to know, okay, let me go get the police. Let me go call the authorities. Something dire is about to happen. So that's kind of advice number 2, is setting up the code. And then third advice, and I hate talking about this, but it is what it is is that there are a lot of children that are being abused, and there are a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of mothers talking about, fathers abusing the children and not knowing what to do. In that situation, outside of reporting it, the best thing that you could do is immediately after your child or a child has been abused, the best thing that you can do is physical activity, right? Physical activity helps to reduce the trauma, because quite honestly, the trauma, the psychological trauma, will have a much more substantial impact than the physical abuse, right? So you want to help them psychologically reduce the trauma, have them exercise for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then immediately after that, then have them read to you, and then you read to them. That cycle of physical, exercise, real quick, running in place, jumping jacks, that kind of thing, having them read, having you read, that kind of cycle helps to reduce the long-term impact of the trauma. So those are the things that I've been recommending to everyone.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Paul. And yeah, it is a reality. And even just while you're talking, again, it just reminded me, it was a point that we brought up when we were talking about singles, but I think this is for anybody, that we really need to use the opportunity to always be aware of people in our network, in our community, not just family members, but co-workers, friends, neighbors who may be struggling. How can I be a voice? How can I be a help? How can I be a support at this time? I think that's one of certainly the takeaways for me. And it's for anybody who is actually unfortunately being abused or in an abusive situation. I think it's really some very helpful nuggets that you just shared, Paul, and we thank you for that. And please continue to be a voice for that. And it's certainly something we are passionate about and stand behind you on as well with. All right, great. So wrapping up the family segment, we're doing pretty good, guys. Let's turn to the kids a bit. We talk, so we know the boys aren't having their regular showers. And they know not to come to mom at 5:01 p.m. So that being said, could you just kind of share with us, how have the boys, I mean, you did say that there's not too much adjusting that you would have had to have done because they were already being homeschooled and so on, but I'm sure they would have been, however you manage it, perhaps they still would be getting perhaps a daily diet of what's going on in the world right now. Either maybe they would have overheard conversations, or they probably catch a newscast or two. How has this whole pandemic been impacting the boys from where you sit? What's been your experience for them and how they've been impacted, if any at all?
Yeah, we've tried to shelter them from a lot of what's going on so that it reduces their anxiety, because we don't want them to feel overly afraid to go back out into the world when it's time and to experience things. So we have tried to, make sure that they are aware of what's going on, of how we need to protect ourselves, but we are not allowing them to be consumed by what's going on. We're trying to keep them scheduled on their regular schedules, and they are following that, and they get information as needed. They know what's going on, but it does not consume them. Yeah. And I think that that's a healthy balance.
Yeah. One thing that we all have to realize, and this is not only for children, but this is for us, is that, I have been in media for a bunch of time. And, quite honestly, media is driven by advertising. And right now, the numbers are skyrocketing. So the viewer numbers for news on television, news online is skyrocketing. And they understand, the news media executives understand that the more doom and gloom that they present, the more scared we are going to be as a public, and the more we're going to rely on going back to the news to find out what's happening, right? Because we live in a moment of uncertainty, and we go to the news to try to become certain about something. This, for adults alone, is causing incredible trauma and depression, etc. So you think, how does that impact an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old or like our boys, being 6 and 9, right? So it's very important to filter, right? So we do shelter them in that they understand there's a virus going on. They understand that people are dying. They understand that there's a need to, have certain protocol like masks, etc. But we're filtering it so that they have a more certain outlook on the possibilities of the future versus, this doom and gloom. The other thing to mention real quick that I think has been really helpful for us as a family unit in being able to cover topics like this is that every night we always eat dinner together, no matter what. Even when I'm filming or whatever, we always eat dinner together, and we're always playing some type of game together, Uno or whatever. But the beauty behind that is it gives the family a regular safe space to be able to discuss and talk about certain things that your children will know, wow, this is a moment where, mom's going to be chill. It's not like talking to her at 501, right? Dad's going to be chill, right? This is chill. So this is a good opportunity for us just to casually talk. They know it's a safe space. Every dinner, right? We come together, break bread. This is very important, I think, for families as well, is to have that regularly scheduled time where your children know it's a safe space to discuss, because they do have thoughts and they do need to discuss those thoughts.
That's right. Absolutely. And, generally then, if I could just maybe hop back over to Jill, I mean, what other nuggets do you have? So based on your personal experience with the boys, what nuggets do you have generally for parents in looking about the emotional and mental and physical well-being of their children right now?
Yeah. Emotionally, we're all about, emotional support. And so we have a thing in our family where if somebody needs a hug, and if they want to have a hug from every single person in the family, we're going to break for that.
Always. There's actually too much hugging going on right now. There's too much. Really, there's too much hugging.
That's true. That's true. They're like, oh my gosh, it's hug time. And then it's like, okay, guys, we're actually kind of busy right now. But the rule is you can't be too busy to hug.
That's true.
So we all hug.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yes. Thanks, Trolls, the movie, for putting them onto that, because we have hug time many times during the day. And so, that I think that's a huge emotional support. Also, people who know us know that our kids have traditionally slept in our beds, but we have managed during this pandemic to get them out of our beds. So yay us.
Wow.
But the caveat to that is, if they need that support for some reason, there's a bad dream or whatever the reason is, they just want to be close to us, they're always welcome back.
They feel the need to just pee in a bed. So they say, I like to pee in mommy and daddy's bed instead of my bed. So I'm going to wake up, I'm going to get in their bed, I'm going to pee in their bed. Oh man, it's real. It's real out here. It's real.
King and Liam are getting scandaled on this live.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Liam would go mad right now. I'm so glad he's not listening in. We would all know about it.
So
we would all know about it.
Yeah.
So if whenever they get married before that, once they bring their first girlfriend home, you just bring up this recording. And, just have at it. Here we go. Okay, you want to hear some stories about King and Liam? Here you go. You just press the play button. Oh my goodness! So it's wonderful. Great memories being created.
For sure.
Wow. You guys have been awesome. I mean, I'm seeing the engagement online. I don't know if folks are going to allow us to let you go. But it's been really an awesome conversation. Before we go to what we call our final nugget, I just want to take care of a quick housekeeping item just to let everybody know, because I think probably the number one question is everybody wants Paul to go over those Instagram things. But we are recording this live, folks, so don't worry about it. Anything you would have missed, you can catch it on JMMB Group Jamaica's platforms of Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Yes, not on LinkedIn yet, but we're gonna have up the recording starting from immediately after, right up into tomorrow morning, so you can go and listen, re-listen, take those notes. And next week we're going to be taking a short break from Goal Getter Live, but our next session is not going to be on this Tuesday. I'm picking up my phone because I want to make sure I have the date right. We're going to be back with you again on Tuesday, the 19th of May, and we're going to go back to our regular time, 8:30 p.m. We will probably still be in curfew, guys, so nobody got nowhere to go. So come and join JMMB Goal Getter Live as usual. We're not going to share the topic and the guests yet, so you're going to have to follow us on our social media channels to get all of the great information and details about our next live stream. And again, we have all of our recorded lives from the past up. You can have a look, watch, engage, and feel free to share your questions with us, and we look forward to seeing you again on our next live. So now it's time for our final nugget, and basically what our final nugget is just one last question we ask of each of our guests. So given all of what we would have discussed with this particular topic, which is around building your relationships during COVID-19, I'd ask Jill and Paul to individually say, what's that one thing would you recommend our viewers do when they wake up tomorrow morning? So we're going to finish out our day. We're going to go to bed, have a good night's sleep, and then wake up in the morning. What's that one piece of advice or tip that you would want our viewers to do as they wake up tomorrow morning if they're serious about building their relationships of any kind during COVID-19?
I would say when you wake up, set your intention for the entire day that you're going to be patient and that you're going to be kind. Because when you do that, you're going to go forth and you're going to treat every situation a little bit more, you're going to approach the situation differently. So make sure you just put that in your head that you are going to be patient and be kind. I think that you said this earlier, but also have gratitude in your spirit that you are just thankful for what's going on right now, that, you know, you have the health, you know, you have the strength. Be grateful for that. Your family members, you know, just be grateful. So that would be my final nugget.
Yeah.
Patience, kindness, and gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you. Patience, kindness, gratitude. Wonderful. Sir Paul.
Well, maybe first is I'd say actually prepare the night before. So I think it's very important to prepare the night before for your next either day or at least your next morning, because when you do that, you're able to then not spend that precious energy thinking about things that are just not critical in the morning. Like, what do I wear? Or, you know, I guess now, should I brush my teeth? Or maybe I shouldn't brush. Like, you know, all these big questions that we have to ask ourselves in the morning, right? But the point is that the night before, if you plot out your next morning, like Jill, she'll know, okay, I'm going to work out to this video. I'm going to do this particular part of my yoga practice. You know, she has it all laid out. I'm going to wear this, right? This is very important to do the night before. So therefore, we can allocate more of that energy in the morning to being intentional, right? So that's one thing. The next thing I'd say is I'm big on these BHAGs. I think every day you should tell yourself, what's something just wild I'm going to do today? Like I'm going to DM Oprah today, right? Whatever that wild thing is, you know, I'm going to call up, you know, my friend from college that I haven't talked to who just started this company, and I'm just going to, you know, set up a call, like just something audacious. We must do audacious things because several things happen when you start doing audacious things. One is you start doing them so much that you'll realize they're not even that audacious, right? There's no stress around doing it. And that's going to propel your life forward when you're just doing big moves every day because you don't even feel as if they're big moves. That's one. Secondly, you're going to find that you're actually going to start getting traction on those big moves. I guarantee you, like out of every 100 big moves you make, 1 or 2 of them probably are going to pan out. And maybe 20, 30 of them are going to halfway pan out, right? So think of how much further your life is going to be by just saying, I'm going to do something bold today. Right? I'm going to do something bold. Jill, I know she's incredibly patient because every day, I'm telling you guys, every day I'm pitching like 5 ideas to Jill. Just this morning, I was like, Jill, we can do blah, blah, blah. And I pitch it to her and I present it to her and I come up with my sales, but they're big goals. They're big goals. But this is important. Like this is important, I think, for us to be in that mindset. So I guess my 2 things are prepare the night before for your next morning. And then secondly is do something audacious every day.
Wow. I love that. Preparing the night before and do a BHAG a day. That's what we're going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Big, hairy, audacious goal. Do 1 a day. That's awesome. Guys, come. We have to big up Paul and Jill in the comments, right? For those overseas, let's give kudos to Paul and Jill in the comments. Can we see that round of applause, guys? We really are so very grateful. And you know what? I want to acknowledge you guys for your investment in Jamaica. I mean, Paul, how is that going? I know you were building a school at a point. How are things going? Because, I mean, in the middle of all this COVID craziness, I don't know what's been happening.
Yeah, with the COVID, it paused. But I tell you what, it will come back online. And it's actually massive. Right before COVID hit, we were getting ready to announce something pretty lofty. So it continues. And I will say this too, you know what the beauty of this time is, especially for like Jamaica in particular, is that right now, Jamaicans are saving Jamaica, right? It's not like, oh, we got to go to China or we got to go. No. It's Jamaicans that are saving. Jamaica is like liberating itself right now. And what the other blessing is that I see a lot of 2nd generation, right, 3rd generation Jamaicans now figuring out what can we do now to support our country. So I think the future is strong. The future is very strong.
Absolutely. And you know, it's just great that you say that, Jamaicans saving Jamaica, because as a country, we've really, I mean, with closed borders and everything like that, we've really only had to rely largely on ourselves. Unfortunately, we're very grateful for the benevolence of international organizations who continue to give and donate. But at the end of it, you realize that we are in this together as a country. And it's really been powerful, you know, in that regard. And Paul, we continue to thank and acknowledge Jamaicans overseas like yourself who continue to pour into the country. And we hope that we'll see the back of this thing sooner rather than later so that you can continue to easily pour into us. And we're just so very grateful to you both for this conversation. I know a lot of people were blessed by it, and we know a lot of people will continue to be blessed by it as we watch the replays and recordings. And we're grateful that you chose to spend your Saturday evening with us all the way from London. It's been wonderful, guys. We really appreciate you.
Carrick,
thank you so much. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing that was not said? I just want everybody to know that I drank coffee throughout this entire time. And Jill did not drink coffee. She was drinking something
Did
more,
anyone see
more
me
adult.
pick up a glass? No one saw me pick up a glass.
I saw no glass.
It's empty. There's a.
What was it? A glass of water?
That's
there we go.
Look at that lipstick. Look at that lipstick.
Water goblet. Is that a water goblet?
That's not water. That's not water.
I tried. Well, you know, as she said, she has 3 gentlemen to take care of every day. A mom and wife needs a little wine in her life.
Saturday, it's after 5 here. I'm entitled. I'm an adult, right?
It's a Saturday evening. Absolutely nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. I'm totally with you on that. You're outvoted on this one, Paul.
Yes, Shauna K. I see she's saying that Paul is scandalous. Yes, she knows him. She knows him.
Yeah, you guys are a trip, a complete trip. We love it. We love it. Thank you so much. And on behalf of the JMMB marketing team and the entire JMMB family, again, thank you, Paul and Jill Brunson, for your time and your expertise and your insights and your candor. It's been wonderful. And I know all of our viewers loved it as well. And we just encourage you to continue to stay safe, and we wish all the best for you and your extended family. We hope your relative there, your family member, makes a full recovery, and that everyone else in your family continues to stay safe and protected as we move through and out of this pandemic. So thanks again, guys. And thanks again to our viewers who joined in, who engaged. Remember, as we say in Jamaica, Tana ya yard, aka stay at home. We encourage you to stay safe, continue to do what you need to do to stay safe, and keep connected, keep the connection. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of the Saturday. Take care. Bye-bye.